and your little mitochondria start freaking out. They get overwhelmed by too much glucose arriving their way. They kind of go on strike. And I'm French, so I know. But they sort of go on strike and they get overwhelmed and stressed out and they're not able to make energy effectively anymore because we're overloading them with too much glucose to process. And as a human, what do you feel? You feel chronic fatigue. You wake up, you're exhausted. Thinking of going to the grocery store or picking up your kids is super tiring. There's this energy system in your body is just kind of broken. But you keep eating carbs, a croissant, some bread, something sweet, but you keep being more and more tired. That's your mitochondria dysfunctioning. So that's the first thing that happens when you spike. You get tired. Your mitochondria get stressed out. And one thing that's interesting is that sometimes when we eat something sweet, especially in the morning, like an orange juice, we kind of feel a sense of like a rush of energy. You have a big glass of orange juice and you sort of perk up for a sec. Most people think that that is energy. What's actually going on is that sugar releases dopamine in the brain. And it's the pleasure molecule. It's the same molecule that gets released when you have sex, when you play video games, when you do illegal drugs. Sugar releases dopamine. It's pleasure. It makes you kind of feel awake, just briefly. But actually, that's not energy because on the inside, your mitochondria are being damaged. So we're being tricked by sugary foods. And when we're tired, we often reach for something sugary to perk us up, but it doesn't work on the inside. So that's the first thing. Your mitochondria gets stressed out. And as your mitochondria get stressed out, they also release what's called free radicals, which is something that increases inflammation in the body. And inflammation is a really nasty thing we'll get to in a sec. The second thing that happens when you spike has to do with a chicken cooking in the oven. So if you put, you're looking at me weird, but let me explain. If you put a chicken in the oven, it goes from pink to brown, right? You've seen this. It cooks. This process of cooking is called glycation. It's the process of browning or of cooking. Same thing when you toast a piece of toast, for example. The interesting thing is, a human being, from the moment we're born, we're slowly cooking in that same way on the inside. We're slowly glycating. We're slowly browning. And then when we're fully glycated, when we're fully cooked, we die. That's why when you look at the cartilage of babies, it's white. And if you look at the cartilage of somebody who's 90 years old, it's brown. They've cooked on the inside. And every glucose spike increases, you're looking at your skin.
Yeah, I'm looking on the outside.
We'd have to open you up and look at your cartilage color.
I've got about 10 minutes left.
No, Stephen. And every glucose spike increases this process of glycation. So much so that glucose and glycation, they kind of sound like a similar word. Glucose glycation. It's because it's glucose doing the glycating. So every glucose spike increases glycation, increases cooking, accelerates aging. And this shows on your skin. You get wrinkles faster if you glycate more. And also on the inside, your organs slowly get damaged. So glucose spikes, mitochondria get tired, you age faster. In response to this, your body knows, Stephen, that a big glucose spike is not good for you. Your body knows that it has to do something to try to get that glucose level down. So what it does, it calls up your pancreas and it's like, yo, pancreas, we got a glucose spike going on. We need to get this glucose down. In response, your pancreas sends a hormone called insulin out in your body. You've heard of insulin before, right? Mm-hmm. And insulin's job, and we love her job is to grab all these excess glucose molecules and to store them away so they don't damage your body anymore. And insulin stores glucose away into your liver, into your muscles, and then when those are full, insulin stores glucose away into your fat cells. And that's one of the ways that you gain fat on your body. It's in response to the spikes and your body trying to protect you from the spikes. The problem is, insulin itself has consequences and is the driver of type 2 diabetes and insulin resistance. So to answer your question, yes, when you see a big spike on your glucose monitor, there's some of that going on. And the more spikes you have, the harder it is going to be for your body to manage your spikes. So it kind of becomes a vicious cycle. If you keep eating the same way, your spikes will get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger over time with more and more damage.
On that last point about where insulin stores the excess glucose, does that mean that if I have more muscle mass, I'm better at eating sugary products?
Yep. And that's why if you really love